Alright folks, in this video we're going to look at compound interest. So there's two types of interest. There is simple interest and compound interest. Compound interest is, let's say if we have an amount of money, £3,000 in a bank account, and we get compound interest on it. That means we get a certain percentage of extra money on top of that every year. So that could be, let's say we get 2% compound interest. So what that means is after 1 year we get 2% of £3,000 added on. So 2% of 3,000, this is best done with a calculator, but 2% of 3,000 is 60. So after 1 year we would have £3,060 1 year later, because we've got 2% interest. Now the difference between simple interest and compound interest is on the second year, after 2 years, we would get 2% of £3,060 added on. So it wouldn't go up by 60 every year, because we get interest on the interest. We get 2% of the 60 added on to it as well. So it's not just plus 60, plus 60, plus 60 like it is in the first year. In the next year we're going to get 2% of £3,060 added on. 2% of 3,060 is £31.90, not 90, 20 pence, something like that. 1% is £30.60, so it'll be £61.20. That makes more sense. So in the second year we get £61.20. It's best done with a calculator. So we add 61.20 to the 3,060 that we've got. So after 2 years we're going to have £3,121.20. And then after 3 years things start getting really complicated, because we would get 2% of that new amount, 2% of £3,121.20p added onto that. That means we're getting interest on the interest that we got on the interest that we got from year one, which is very, very confusing. But there's an easy way to do this. Every year we're not adding the same amount each time, but we are multiplying by the same amount each time. The number that you times 3,000 by to get to 3,060 is the same as the number that you times 3,060 by to get 3,121.2. And then if we times that number again, we get the next amount, and that number is going to be 1.02. So even though we add 60, we're also timesing by 1.02. 3,000 times 1.02 is 3,060, and 3,060 times 1.02 is 3,121.2. Okay, so we're just multiplying by this 1.02 over and over again. The reason it's 1.02 is because 2% as a decimal, we divide it by 100, that's 0.02. This is increasing by 2%, so we are multiplying it by 1 to keep it the same, 0.02 to add the extra 2% on. So we can do that. Let's do another example. Let's say if we've got £5,000 and we want let's say 10% compound interest, and we want to know how much this is going to be after 5 years. Now that could take quite a long time if we do that 1 year at a time very carefully, but if we work out what we multiplied this 5,000 by each year, we can just do that 5 times. We can multiply it by that number 5 times. So 10% as a decimal is 0.1, so we have to multiply 5,000 by 1.1 to increase it by 10%. So if we multiply it by 1.1 5 times, that will give us the amount we have after 5 years. So what we need to type into a calculator is 5,000 times 1.1, and we could just put times 1.1 in the calculator over and over again. We could put that in 5 times and that would work, and it would give us the right answer, but it's quite a lot. And if it's more than 5, say if it was like 20 years or 30 years, there would be loads and it would be dead easy to get it wrong. So what we can do instead, if we get rid of all of that except for one of them, is we can put 1.1 to the power of 5. That means 1.1 multiplied by itself 5 times. And that's all we have to type into a calculator. So if we type that in, we've got 5,000 times 1.1 to the power of 5, because it's 5 years. So the power is the number of years, and that gives us 8,052 8,052.55. So that's how much would be in the account after 5 years of 10% compound interest. If we start with £5,000, compare that to simple interest. If it was 10% at simple interest, it would just go up by 10%, which would be £500, 10% of the original amount every year. After 5 years, 5 lots of £500 is 2,500. So if it was simple interest, this would be 5,000 plus 2,500, which is 7,500. With it being compound, there's over 500 extra pounds there, £552.55 extra, just from it being compound. So that's the difference between compound interest and simple interest, and that's how you work it out.